Up next, we have another great interview with Sarah and her guest, Chris Evans from IABM. Sarah, take it away.
Thanks, Sam. Yep, I'm joined in the studio with Chris Evans, Head of Knowledge Insight at IABM. Chris, it's all about the data. This is an exciting one for me. So let's start with the objectives for the research. So what were they?
Yeah, so here we were looking at the democratization of media tech. So democratization, this is a process that's continually ongoing with technologies. But right now, we see this as a really important time to investigate this in greater detail. Why is that? Well, first off, since COVID, our level of literacy, our competency with video has been increasing. I always talk about the way that video is actually not just about media and entertainment, it's also fundamentally a communication technology, right? So we wanted to dig into this quite conceptual idea, but create some quantifiable data to surround this and how our perceptions are changing around the idea of democratization.
Yeah, absolutely. So should we dive into that?
Yeah.
So you found some interesting information about the differences between a generalist and a specialist. What does that mean?
Right, so this is quite a conceptual piece. So in terms of the respondents to the survey, we wanted to group a series of tasks into the idea of it being perceived as generalist or specialist. So as you can see over in the data, we've got a ranking of different activities around video acquisition, video recording, video capture. So that might be recording on a camcorder, recording on a DSLR or mirrorless camera, presenting to camera, or recording with a smartphone. And as you can see, the perception shifts in terms of how the respondents saw this data. As you probably expect, moving towards the more kind of consumer-perceived, consumer-orientated devices like DSLR, mirrorless, and then moving to smartphone, 100% of the respondents all saw recording video on a smartphone as now a generalist task, right? So does that, if anything, evidence that democratization has taken place in terms of the ability to create video? I'll just call quick attention to the idea of presenting video as well. I'm not a trained presenter, but here I am. So is this evidence at all of the idea of democratization taking place?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's fascinating. I'd love to dive into that further. But so you also have some interesting information about which market verticals have the most growth potential. Tell us about that.
So as a trade organization representing broadcast media technologies, you can see actually on the x-axis of this chart that the majority of our survey respondents are active in the broadcast media tech space. However, there's a moment of business transformation happening because of this democratization. Their tools, their services are becoming relevant in other verticals in Pro AV.
Absolutely.
That's what brings us to ISE, talking about this. So you can see that the next most relevant in terms of that x-axis, that's actually there's a high proportion of our respondents that are also servicing the corporate vertical. Now, if we introduce the y-axis on this chart, you can also see that the perception of the perceived growth opportunity in these vertical markets is what sits something higher up on that chart. So actually breaking away in this top cluster, we've got these greater opportunities that are being more narrowly served by media tech vendors, but represent a perceived high level of growth. So stadiums and venues, gaming, these are all interesting areas to explore if your company is active and involved in video technologies.
Absolutely, and I'm an avid convergent technology practitioner, so I can see that, and it's amazing to have now that some data that actually backs that up and confirms it. It's exciting. So, but lastly, it's not just AV and broadcast that are converging, but at IT too. So what did you find in your research to confirm that perspective?
So if you look at the fact that we've got broadcast M&E customers and then also those existing customers from the Pro AV world, they're both actually going on the same journey, moving from proprietary hardware into software and then onto the cloud, virtualized solutions. So actually what this is doing is this is bringing greater convergence between the two sets of previously distinct technology vendors. So as we move towards a more open standard IT-centric design philosophy, we're actually going to see more natural convergence, more partnership. And why is this important as well is for the end customer. There is very little interest in products that suggest a sign of vendor locking now. So with the rate of change, the rate of acceleration in technology right now, you can't afford to be doing this. So it's not to say that customers don't want to buy from a single source, but they don't like the idea of being vendor locked. So this open source IT-centric philosophy is really important right now.
Absolutely. In fact, we had another School Me session talking about IPMX, video over IP, which is open source. So there's a lot more, as you say, open standards and all playing together to collaborate. I mean, this is fascinating. Chris. We could probably sit here and just get you to go through your PowerPoint all day, but we can't. So we now need to throw over. So I think I missed the calendar invite for our next segment because I think I would fit right in with my outfit. So let's take a look.